Great blessings. So, Guru without an ashram. And I wanted to share an experience of, boy, what it's like to work in really interesting, different kinds of ways sometimes. So, there was a student that I had, and she happened to live close by. A lot of people live far away, sometimes in other countries, but she lived close. And so we planned to go on a walk in to a gardens that she had a pass to go into. And so she came to my house and picked me up. The night before, at midnight, it was right around midnight, I looked at the clock, I had an extreme terror come into my body. And it was when you do this kind of work and when you really do it thoroughly, you get very familiar with your own emotions and your own emotional reactions and how to work with those emotions and different exercises, different tools, different ways. And it becomes more and more and more rare when those things for those things to come up. Even when things happen on the outside, you again, you're just really familiar with working on how you work with your own energy and your own self. And so in this case, it came out of nowhere, and I couldn't really connect it with anything specifically. So I thought maybe it was a few different things, but I didn't know. And I mostly just did what I do to process that energy through and to come back into a place of, I call it reality, of, of the awareness of who you are as an eternal divine being. And then I went back to sleep. So when she picked me up, I mentioned this experience as we were driving. And she said, "Oh my gosh, that is really something because at midnight last night, I started doing something. I was doing, I think it was a mandala, but she was doing some kind of creative activity that she hadn't been doing. And she said a huge terror came up, and it was midnight. So when you're working with teachers, and or if you are a healer or you work on that level too and you have those kinds of experiences, which I've had in many different ways, especially doing group cleanses, I'll literally have the taste of a food as someone else is releasing that food. It was like Captain Crunch, some kind of cereal. And I thought, I haven't had that in forever. At that point, I hadn't had any of those things. And someone came onto the call and mentioned that they were craving that, or were it was they were just having crave. So those things happen. And in the case of the terror, you can actually help to process someone else's. It would be too overwhelming if it all came in for them. And so when you're working with a teacher or on the level of the guru kind of thing, I guess, it's not, I don't look at it as this horrible thing, that a bad habit, I'm taking on someone's energy, oh my God, what am I doing? It's something that just, that happens, and that you can make that, you can help to transmute it, and you can help someone go further and in a shorter amount of time, and especially if they do have a gift that's supposed to be coming through or meant to come through. And so it's hard to put a numerical price on that. Why would you pay to have someone help you release trauma, and it would take you maybe 10 years to clear all of that and really get to the heart of it and really do that, which we were also working on that and too, talking about it, and making she was making those connections on what happened, and all of that work was also happened simultaneously. I don't want to say only that was just being taken off. I think that's an important piece to have, the psychological processing of what happened if you did have a trauma in childhood. But that's what you can do, how things can work also. And so that's one story of what can happen when you're working with a teacher and a healer on your spiritual adventure.